She told me, I'm expecting, and the father might not be you. I lawyered up and demanded a DNA test. But what shocked everyone wasn't just the results. It was the family secrets that came crashing down after. Hey Reddit, over dinner one night, my girlfriend dropped a line that completely flipped my life upside down. I didn't yell, I didn't cry. I just stayed calm and set things in motion. What followed turned into the kind of chaos you honestly couldn't make up, and I'm still shaking my head at how far it went. I've heard about guys finding out their girlfriend's pregnant and feeling their whole life flip upside down. I always figured if it ever happened to me, it'd be shocking, maybe scary, maybe even exciting if it was with the right person. What I didn't expect was to hear the words over a plate of pasta like she was announcing a new Netflix series. We'd been together 3 years, living together for one. Things weren't perfect, but I thought they were stable enough. Then Gretchen, my girlfriend, 28 female, takes a bite of spaghetti, twirls it around her fork like she's in some rom-com, and says, I'm pregnant, and it might not be yours. She didn't even blink, just dropped it on the table like she was ordering dessert. I set my fork down, took a sip of water, and said the only thing I could think of. Okay. She froze, like I'd just short-circuited her little script. Okay? That's it? Just, okay? Would you prefer I scream? Flip the table? Cry? I asked. She looked pissed. You're supposed to fight for me. For us. That's when I knew she'd already written the drama in her head. She thought I'd grovel, that I'd get down on my knees and say, please, baby, I'll raise the kid even if it's not mine. Instead, I just sat there calmly, sipping water like I was waiting for the check. So I asked her straight, when did you find out? This morning. How far along? 8 weeks. And who else might be the father? Her face went red. Does it matter? I choose you. I want to raise this baby with you. I almost laughed. That's nice. When did it happen? She started twirling her pasta again, looking anywhere but at me. It happened on my work trip, in Denver. Denver, I repeated. Not exactly a city of romance, but sure. With who? She hesitated for half a second, then dropped the name. Mark. I knew the guy. She'd mentioned him before in passing. Sales department, mid-30s. Thinks he's God's gift to women because he wears tight shirts and gel in his hair. The type of guy who brags about crushing deals while drinking light beer. I couldn't help but laugh. So, let me get this straight. You got knocked up by Mark from sales? This is almost too cliché. Her face turned red. It might still be yours. I leaned forward, elbows on the table, and said, and it might be his, which means neither of us gets to just decide. Science does. So we'll do a test. She blinked, like I'd just insulted her entire bloodline. You want a paternity test? Obviously. That's so cold. Where's your trust? I smiled. Probably back in Denver with your hotel room key. Don't talk to me about trust. Talk to me about the results. She actually had the audacity to look offended. I'm telling you, I choose you. I want to raise this baby with you. I leaned back, arms crossed. Cute. But biology doesn't care who you choose. You don't get to treat this like picking out curtains. Either it's mine or it isn't. Simple math. Now she was full on defensive. Why are you being so calm? Don't you care? You're supposed to fight for me, for us. I shrugged. Why? You fought for Mark instead. You made your choice already, Gretchen. I'm just here to see what the paperwork says. That's when she snapped. You're supposed to love me unconditionally. No, I said. I'm supposed to love my kid unconditionally. That part is still under review. The look on her face? Priceless. Like no one had ever told her no before. She slammed her fork down. You're a monster. And you're a cheater, I shot back. So if we're trading titles, I think mine's easier to live with. That's when the water glass flew. Not at me. She missed and nailed the wall behind me. Real dramatic. Then she stormed out, muttering something about staying at Heather's. I sat there finishing my pasta, because wasting food over drama is not my style. When I tell people this story, they always ask the same thing. How did you stay so calm? Easy. Because the second she said it might not be yours, I stopped looking at her as a girlfriend and started looking at her as a legal problem. Feelings. Dead. Logic. Full throttle. She thought I'd scream and cry, then eventually man up and raise someone else's kid. Nah, that's the playbook for suckers. I scheduled a prenatal test before I even finished my plate. And yeah, I called my lawyer too, because if it turned out to be mine, I wanted custody talks on my terms, not hers. If it wasn't mine, she was gone. I wasn't going to be trapped by someone else's mess. And I definitely wasn't going to be guilt-tripped by a woman who couldn't even keep it in her pants during a 3-day conference in Denver. As I cleaned the table that night, I actually laughed to myself. She thought dropping a bomb like that would destroy me. Instead, it just made everything crystal clear. This wasn't love anymore. This was war. And unlike Gretchen, I don't walk into battles unprepared. The next morning, I was making coffee when my phone lit up. Unknown number. I answer, and before I can even say hello, I get hit with, "How dare you demand a paternity test?" Deborah, Gretchen's mom. Sweet, cardigan-wearing, casserole-making Deborah. Or at least that's how she pretended to be every other day of her life. Now she sounded like a demon lawyer who hadn't slept in weeks. I sipped my coffee. "Morning to you too, Deborah. Do you know what you've done to my daughter? She called me in tears last night. You've crushed her spirit. Real men don't need tests. They step up." I nearly spit out my drink laughing. Real women don't hook up at hotel bars during work trips, Deborah. Maybe have that talk with your daughter before you come at me with Hallmark quotes. She gasped like I'd slapped her through the phone. "How dare you speak to me that way? You're supposed to protect her." "I did," I said. "For me wasting another second of my life on her lies." Protection accomplished. Click. She hung up. I was barely halfway through my mug when the phone buzzed again. Different number. This time it was Russell, Gretchen's dad. His tone was lower, calmer. Former military, always the reasonable one. "Son, I heard what's going on. Let's keep this quiet. No need to embarrass her." "Not broadcasting anything, Russell," I said. "She told her whole family before the pasta was even digested. She's the one making it public. She says you're being paranoid and controlling. That you don't trust her." I didn't even bother arguing. I just scrolled to the screenshots, Gretchen admitting she slept with Mark on the Denver trip, and forwarded them. A few seconds later, silence on the line. "I'll talk to Deborah," he muttered finally. "Appreciate it," I said, then hung up. That should have been the end of it. But Gretchen doesn't believe in taking the L quietly. By lunch, my phone was blowing up with notifications. She'd gone full performance artist on social media. A big post about how she was being forced into medical procedures by a man who was supposed to love her. Hashtags about women's rights, body autonomy, and toxic control. She painted herself as Joan of Arc, bravely fighting against my oppression, conveniently leaving out the part where she'd been grinding on Mark from sales in a Marriott suite. The comments section was a mix of sympathy and skepticism. Her friends were chiming in. "You deserve better, Queen," while random cousins asked questions like, "Wait, doesn't a paternity test just need blood? That's not surgery." I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Screenshots were already saved, and receipts beat hashtags every time. That night, while scrolling, I noticed something interesting. Gretchen had tagged me in one of her posts, a black and white photo of her clutching her stomach dramatically, with the caption, "Some men only love conditionally. Some men only stay if the DNA is right." I didn't comment. I didn't share. I didn't even block her. I just took another screenshot. Every time she opened her mouth, she was building my case stronger than I ever could. The next day, Russell called again. His voice was tight, like he'd just gone 10 rounds with Deborah. I saw the screenshots. "You're right. She admitted it. Don't worry. I'll handle her mother." "Good luck," I said. She came at me like I'd declared war on the family. "You just stay calm," he said. "Don't let her bait you." "I'm calm, Russell. I'm sipping coffee and waiting for a lab result. She's the one flailing." He sighed. "I'll be in touch." Click. Meanwhile, Gretchen doubled down. She wasn't just posting now, she was DMing mutual friends, painting me as a control freak. According to her, I'd always had trust issues and couldn't handle a strong woman. One of my buddies screenshotted her messages and sent them to me with a caption, "Bro, she's doing PR like she's running for office." I replied, "Good. The more she talks, the deeper the hole gets." By the end of that week, the narrative was clear. And the best part? I hadn't lifted a finger beyond screenshots. They were burning their own house down, and I was just watching with popcorn. The night before the test, I got one last call from Deborah. She didn't even say hello. "You're a disgrace," she hissed. "If you had any dignity, you'd stand by Gretchen no matter what." "Deborah," I said, bored, "standing by your daughter is what got us here in the first place. Mark from sales says hi, by the way." Silence. Then a click. I put my phone down, leaned back on the couch, and smiled. This wasn't a fight I had to win by yelling or posting or begging. This was a fight won by staying calm while they screamed themselves hoarse. And tomorrow, the paperwork would start speaking louder than any hashtag Deborah could invent. But Gretchen wasn't about to wait that long. When you're desperate, you throw everything at the wall and hope something sticks. The next morning, she came by the apartment unannounced. Big mistake. Her key fob didn't work anymore because I'd already told the landlord to deactivate it. She could still get her essentials by appointment, but the days of strolling in like she owned the place were over. She banged on the door until I opened it. She looked like she hadn't slept. Hair a mess, makeup smudged, holding some printed forms. "What's this?" I asked. "It's a voluntary acknowledgement of paternity form," she said, waving the papers like a golden ticket. "If you sign it now, we don't even need the test. We can move forward as a family." And I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my coffee. Move forward? You think I'm going to legally chain myself to a kid that might be Mark's? You're insane. Her eyes flashed. "It's about trust. If you love me, you'll do this." "Love isn't blind," I said. "It can read contracts. And I'm not signing a damn thing until science confirms it's mine." That's when she pulled out her next card. Or should I say, her next clown. She stepped aside and there he was. Mark. The legend himself. Tight button-up shirt, sleeves rolled up to show off his forearms, hair gelled like he was auditioning for a boy band reunion tour. He had this smug grin plastered on his face, like he thought he'd already won. "Well, well," I said, "if it isn't the Denver Don Juan himself." Mark stepped forward, puffing his chest out like he was about to close a deal. "Look, man, I know this is hard for you, but if you're not man enough to step up, don't worry. I'll take responsibility for the baby." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh, really? That's generous. Got diapers included in your sales commission package, Mark?" He smirked, like he thought he had the upper hand. "Unlike you, I don't need a piece of paper to tell me what family means." "Unlike you," I shot back, "I don't need a company retreat to find my self-esteem." Gretchen tried to wedge herself between us, holding her hands out like she was moderating a debate. "This doesn't have to be a fight. Mark is willing to step up, and if you really loved me, you would too. We could even do this together like—" I cut her off with a laugh. "Like a 3-parent daycare? Not happening. You two clearly deserve each other. Mark, congrats. You just won the jackpot. Maybe. Assuming it's even yours?" Mark's smugness wavered just a bit. He looked at Gretchen. "Wait, what does he mean, maybe?" Gretchen's face went pale. I told you, it's between you and him. That's it." I leaned against the doorway, arms crossed. "Oh no, sweetheart. You made it very clear. Might not be yours." Her words, not mine. "So good luck with those odds, Mark. Vegas would give you 50-50 at best." He blinked, clearly doing the math in his head. His confidence slipped, but he tried to salvage it. "Doesn't matter. I'll still raise the kid if it's mine. That's what a real man does." "Cool," I said. "Then you won't mind footing the bills. Prenatal care, baby stuff, the whole 9 yards. I'll even send you the Sharpie I used to write, 'Not the Father,' on her last invoice." That wiped the grin off his face. He turned to Gretchen. "Wait, he's not paying for anything?" Gretchen stammered. "He's just being difficult right now. He'll come around." I shook my head. "Nope. No coming around. No magical redemption arc. I'm done. You two can play house somewhere else, but not in my apartment." Gretchen's face twisted. "You can't just throw me out. I've been living here for a year. I have rights." "Yeah," I said, pointing to a box in the hallway. "You've got 30 days' notice. The landlord already filed it, and your stuff's in storage. Pay the bill or lose it. I've already started packing your stuff. Don't forget your vision boards and essential oils." Mark looked like he wanted to argue, but he stayed quiet. He clearly wasn't as invested in this dad act once the words bills and responsibility came up. Gretchen, on the other hand, lost it. Tears, yelling, the whole drama. She accused me of being heartless, toxic, cruel. She even dropped the line, "You're abandoning me when I need you the most." I smirked. "No, Gretchen, I'm abandoning Mark's mess. Big difference." She screamed, stomped her foot like a toddler, and stormed off down the hallway with Mark trailing behind her. He looked like he wanted to say something, but didn't. His big macho entrance ended with him following a crying woman down the stairs like a lost puppy. Funny thing is, Gretchen had already dragged Mark to her OB's office for a swab, bragging like it made him some kind of hero. I told the lab to include him on the panel with me. Perfect. Now neither of us had to guess. Anyways, not 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed again. This time it was a group text. Gretchen, Deborah, and Heather. The holy trinity of delusion. "You're disgusting. She deserves better than you. A real man would support her no matter what. You'll regret this. You're throwing away your family." I replied with one line. "Not my family. Not my problem." Then muted the chat. That night, I sat on my couch, quiet apartment around me, and thought about how fast things had shifted. In 1 week, I'd gone from living with a girlfriend of 3 years to giving her a 30-day eviction notice. But the best part? I wasn't even stressed. They were scrambling. Mark playing hero, Gretchen playing victim, Deborah playing dictator. And me? I was just calmly stacking receipts, waiting for the test results to blow their little house of cards into dust. Because if Gretchen thought dragging Mark into this would rattle me, She didn't understand who she was dealing with. I don't bluff. I don't panic. I don't beg. I win. And when those results came in, it was going to be my checkmate. But apparently, patience wasn't in their DNA. 2 days later, Deborah called with her fake sweet voice. We're having a family dinner. Just us. No drama. We think there's a way to compromise. Compromise. That word alone told me this was going to be comedy night. I agreed to go, mostly because I wanted to see what kind of bargain these clowns thought they could pitch me. When I walked into Russell and Deborah's house, it looked like they were hosting the Last Supper. Chicken, sides, wine glasses already poured. Like a little food and candles were going to soften what was coming. Gretchen sat there looking pitiful, drowning in a baggy sweater, eyes all red like she'd practiced sad puppy dog in the mirror. Deborah was right beside her, smug as a lawyer about to argue a slam-dunk case. Heather was parked across the table, grinning like she got front-row seats to a play. The aunt sat quietly with her wine, observing, and Russell, as usual, sat at the head of the table, looking like he wanted to be anywhere else. I pulled out a chair and said, "All right, hit me with the pitch." Deborah straightened up, folding her hands like she was conducting a board meeting. We all know tensions have been high, but we think there's a solution that works for everyone. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, this I gotta hear. She gestured to Gretchen, who sniffled on cue. Gretchen understands you don't want to be the father. We respect that. Do you? I asked. Because your phone calls didn't sound very respectful. Her smile twitched, but she kept going. What we're proposing is, you don't have to be the father in title, but you can still contribute financially. You've built a stable life, a good career. You can afford to help. Think of it as supporting the child, without the baggage of custody or paternity. I laughed out loud. So, let me get this straight. I don't have to be the dad, but you still want me to pay for the kid? Gretchen nodded weakly. It would mean so much. It's not about us anymore. It's about the baby. Yeah, I said. A baby that's not mine. You're literally asking me to bankroll your mistake. Heather jumped in. You're being heartless. She's scared. She's alone. Heartless. I cut her off. No, I'm just not dumb enough to sign up for 18 years of bills for a child I didn't make. That's not heartless. That's called having a spine. Deborah's voice went sharp. You've lived with her for a year. You've benefited from this household. It's your moral responsibility to give back. I tilted my head. Benefited? I paid the rent, the bills, the groceries. Everything in that apartment has my name on it. The only thing I didn't benefit from was apparently her work trip. Russell coughed into his napkin, trying to hide the smirk. Gretchen whispered, Please, just help us. I don't need you to be there emotionally, just financially. That one nearly killed me. So what? You want me as a sponsor? Am I supposed to write checks while you and Mark play happy little family? Do I get a tote bag with my donation? Deborah snapped, This is about family reputation. You can at least spare us the shame by helping her through this. I leaned forward, elbows on the table. Let me explain something. My money doesn't come with shame. It comes with receipts. And there is not a single receipt that ties me to your daughter's baby. Not now, not ever. The silence after that was beautiful. Then Russell finally spoke up. His voice was calm but firm. He's right. Everyone turned to him, like he just started speaking in tongues. Russell set his fork down. If the child isn't his, he doesn't owe a dime. You're asking him to pay for a mistake he didn't make. That's not compromise. That's extortion. Deborah's jaw dropped. Russell, how dare you take his side over your daughter? Russell glared at her. Because he's making sense. The aunt, who'd been quiet all night, swirled her wine and dropped the grenade. Maybe Deborah's so desperate because she knows what it's like. You weren't around back then either. The whole table froze. Gretchen blinked, confused. Heather looked lost. Russell turned slowly toward his wife, eyes like ice. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Deborah stuttered. Nothing. She's just drunk. The aunt shrugged, took another sip. History repeats itself, doesn't it? Russell's face hardened. He stared at Deborah like he'd just solved a puzzle he didn't want to. I pushed my chair back and stood. Well, this has been fun. Dinner, blackmail, and family secrets. Really a full-course meal. Thanks for the invite. Gretchen reached for me. Wait, please, don't leave like this. I smirked. You wanted compromise. Here's mine. I'm out, you're out, and my wallet stays shut. But I walked to the door while Deborah hissed at her sister, Gretchen sobbed into Heather's shoulder, and Russell just sat there, silent, staring at his wife like the ground had just shifted under his feet. As I stepped outside, I couldn't help but smile. That one slip from the aunt? That wasn't just a crack. That was the start of an earthquake. And once Russell started digging, the whole damn house of lies was going to collapse. And I was going to watch it happen from a safe distance. Turns out I didn't have to wait long. A week later, the paternity results came in. Sealed envelope, neat and clinical, like it wasn't about to nuke 3 lives in one paragraph. I sat at my kitchen table, coffee in hand, and opened it. The lab sent a packet, 2 pages, mine, 0%, Mark's, 0%. Clean, simple, no wiggle room. I leaned back in my chair and grinned. The self-proclaimed real man who strutted around telling me he'd step up just got benched. All that chest-thumping bravado, gone with one line of lab text. I could already picture the look on his face when he read it. Gretchen didn't take it well. She called the second she saw the results, voice cracking and desperate. "This isn't right." They must have made a mistake. The lab screwed it up. "Yeah," I said, "because those scientists with PhDs just love botching DNA tests for fun." "It's wrong," she shouted. "We have to do another one." "No, we don't. 2 men tested, 0% both times. That means we're in mystery dad territory. Congratulations." She started crying, screaming about how I was abandoning her. I hung up before she got to the heartless monster part, because I'd heard it all before. I sent the results straight to Russell. He didn't reply right away, but 3 hours later, my phone rang. His voice was calm, but there was something sharp underneath. "Can you come over? Need to show you something." Or when I walked into his den, he was sitting at his desk with papers spread everywhere. Not just the test I'd sent, medical records, old files, blood type charts. He pointed at one line on Gretchen's report. "Her blood type is B positive," he said. "Okay," I replied. "And?" "Deborah's O negative. I'm O positive." He looked up at me, eyes cold. "That combination can't make a B positive child." "Impossible." I whistled low. "So, you're saying what I think you're saying?" His jaw clenched. "I'm saying I've been raising another man's kid for 28 years. Silence hung heavy in the room. Then he pulled out another sheet. His own DNA test. He'd already done it. It confirmed what the blood types hinted at. 0 biological relation. I leaned on the desk, shaking my head. "Damn. 1 kid isn't yours, 1 grandkid isn't mine. Deborah really hit a family double play, huh?" Russell didn't laugh. He just stared at the paperwork like it was a loaded gun. "She lied to me for almost 3 decades. Built a marriage on it. And doubled down defending Gretchen," I said. "Now it makes sense. She wasn't just protecting her daughter. She was protecting her own lie." He nodded slowly. "Exactly." Later that night, word got out. Deborah called me in a fury, screaming that I'd poisoned Russell against her. "No," I said. "Your biology did that. Don't blame me because your sister can't keep her mouth shut and science isn't on your side." She shrieked something about me ruining her family. I hung up mid-rant. Gretchen, meanwhile, had gone nuclear. She texted me paragraphs of nonsense about how I'd destroyed her life. One line stood out. "If you weren't so obsessed with DNA, none of this would have happened." I laughed so hard I almost dropped my phone. "Yeah," I muttered. "If only I'd agreed to raise a mystery kid and ignore the fact your dad isn't even your dad. Totally my bad." I didn't bother replying. Silence was louder than anything I could type. Russell called me again a few days later. His voice sounded different, lighter, even with the anger simmering underneath. "I filed for divorce," he said simply. "Good for you," I replied. "She tried to spin it, said it was my fault for working too much back then. But I'm done listening to excuses. I've wasted enough of my life on her lies." There was a pause, then he added, "You were right to demand proof. You saved me from wasting another 28 years. That one hit different. I wasn't in this for validation, but hearing Russell say it confirmed what I already knew. Staying calm, demanding receipts, never caving, it pays off." Meanwhile, Gretchen was unraveling in real time. No father for the baby, no boyfriend, no supportive dad, a mom who was too busy fighting for her own crumbling marriage to hold her hand. She tried one more stunt, sending me invoices for prenatal vitamins, doctor visits, even organic food for the baby. Total, over $1,200. I mailed them back with 2 words scrawled in red Sharpie. Not the father. The test had exposed the baby's mystery dad. The aunt's slip cracked the door open, but the blood type math blew it off the hinges. That's what exposed Deborah's decades-old affair. And Russell's divorce papers sealed the deal. 3 women who thought they could manipulate, guilt, and control me were now choking on their own lies. I didn't need to yell. I didn't need to post. I didn't even need to chase revenge. All I had to do was sit back, stay calm, and let the truth do the heavy lifting. And the truth had just hit them harder than anything I could have planned. Once the test results and Russell's discovery started circulating, it was like tossing a grenade into their family tree. Everyone scrambled to grab cover, but there was no hiding from it. Deborah went full meltdown. She cornered Russell in front of relatives, trying to spin it like he was the reason she cheated decades ago. You work too much. You weren't emotionally present. I was lonely. Russell didn't raise his voice. He just looked at her, stone-faced, and said, "You lied to me for 28 years. That's all that matters." Then he walked away and filed for divorce the next morning. No hesitation, no second chances. I respected the hell out of that. Clean, efficient, brutal. Gretchen, on the other hand, didn't take the clean route. She spiraled. First came the calls, long voicemails of her sobbing, begging me to reconsider and think about the baby. She swung between victim and manipulator like a pendulum. One minute it was, "You're abandoning me when I'm at my lowest." The next it was, "We could still build a family together if you just forgive me." I didn't answer a single one. My silence was its own reply. When that failed, she showed up. 9 months pregnant, standing on my doorstep, mascara running, hands clutching her belly like a prop in a stage play. "Please," she whispered. "I have nothing. My dad won't talk to me. My mom's a mess. Mark disappeared. I can't do this alone." I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "Sounds like a series of choices finally caught up to you." Her lip trembled. "The baby's innocent. Don't punish it for my mistakes. You could be its father figure." I shook my head. "Nope. You tried to trick me into being a dad when you didn't even know whose kid it was. That ship sank the moment you opened your mouth at dinner. I don't do father figure cosplay." She started crying harder. "I'll do anything. Just don't leave me like this." I stepped closer, lowered my voice so she knew I wasn't playing. "You cheated. You lied. You tried to manipulate me into raising a stranger's kid. You want help? Maybe call Mark." "Oh, wait. He ran when the test crushed his ego. Call the baby's father." "Oh, wait, you don't even know him." "Me? I'm not your backup plan. I'm not your safety net. I'm done." Her face twisted from desperation to rage in a blink. "You're cruel." "No," I said calmly. "I'm consistent." She tried to push past me into the apartment. I blocked the doorway. "Not happening. You've got 30 days notice. Your stuff's in storage. Pay the bill or lose it. That's the only deal you're getting." She sobbed, muttered something about karma, then stormed off. Heather was waiting in her car. As they drove away, Heather leaned out the window and flipped me off. Real mature. Meanwhile, Deborah was in freefall. With Russell moving forward on the divorce, her little empire collapsed. She bounced between relatives, crying about betrayal, posting cryptic quotes on Facebook like, "Forgiveness is the key to healing." Nobody bought it. Everyone was whispering about how she'd cheated decades ago and kept it secret. Her golden family image shattered overnight. Even worse for her, Russell wasn't hiding his side of the story. He told friends, extended family, anyone who asked, she lied, for 28 years. And the more she tried to spin, the guiltier she looked. Russell reached out to me one last time. We met for coffee. He looked tired but lighter, like a man who finally dropped a weight he'd been carrying for decades. "You were right to stand your ground," he said. "I wasted half my life trusting someone I shouldn't have. Don't ever let anyone tell you you're wrong for demanding proof." I nodded. "Good, because I wouldn't have listened anyway." He actually cracked a smile at that. Fair. The best part? Mark's downfall. After the results showed he wasn't the dad, word got around at work. Sales guys love gossip. Suddenly, the man who strutted around bragging about taking responsibility was just the fool who got played by Gretchen and exposed by a lab test. His tough guy image tanked. I heard he's been keeping his head down, avoiding eye contact in the office, from peacock to pigeon in record time. As for Gretchen, she tried one last stunt. She sent me another letter, this time handwritten, like we were in some cheesy romance novel. Pages of apologies, promises, begging me to at least be there when the baby is born. I didn't reply. I tossed it in the trash with the rest of her junk mail. Because at the end of the day, she wanted me to believe in her fantasy world, one where mistakes don't matter, consequences don't exist, and I keep footing the bill. But I live in reality, and reality was simple. I wasn't about to pick up the pieces of their broken lives just because they wanted someone else to blame. They thought they'd corner me with guilt, obligation, and fake morality. Instead, they cornered themselves with lies, delusion, and denial. And I walked out untouched. The fallout kept rolling long after I stopped picking up their calls. It was like throwing a grenade into a house of mirrors. Every angle cracked, and the pieces kept cutting them long after the blast. The baby came first. Gretchen gave birth late that summer. 7 pounds, healthy. But when it came time to fill out the birth certificate, the father's section was left blank. No Mark, no me, no mystery hero swooping in. Just N/A. That blank box was the loudest truth of all. She tried to post about it online, playing the strong single mom card, but it didn't hit the way she wanted. People whispered behind her back. Wasn't she with that guy for years? Didn't she cheat on him? Whose kid is it then? No amount of hashtags could cover the fact that nobody wanted to be officially tied to that child. Gretchen ended up crashing at Heather's. Best friend turned roommate turned babysitter. From what I heard, Heather's patience wore thin fast. Gretchen didn't have a career anymore. She couldn't go back to her old job after the office gossip. Everyone knew what happened on that Denver trip, and no company wants the woman whose drama dragged HR into a soap opera. So she settled for part-time at a crystal shop downtown, hawking healing stones to tourists. On the side, she tried some MLM scam selling essential oils, Instagram captions about boss babe energy and financial freedom, while begging people to join her downline. Classic. Every photo she posted looked the same. Tired eyes, forced smile, a baby on her hip. She was playing house with herself while Heather rolled her eyes in the background. Meanwhile, Deborah's life stayed in freefall. The divorce with Russell got uglier by the week. 28 years of assets being cut up like a pie. Russell wasn't holding back. He went after everything, and the courts favored him once Deborah's affair came out. She ended up moving in with her sister, posting cryptic quotes on Facebook like, "Sometimes the storm is sent to clear your path, and only God can judge me." Translation: everyone in her life was judging her, and she hated it. I didn't have to say a word. Their own actions did all the talking. And Russell? He looked like a new man. He sold the house, bought a smaller place by the coast, and picked up fishing again. He even texted me once. "Thanks for the push. I should have seen it sooner." The guy wasted nearly 3 decades, but he finally cut loose. Better late than never. As for me, life went the opposite direction. I got a promotion, bigger office, bigger paycheck, all for myself. I started dating again too. Met Ruby at my rock climbing gym. Sharp, funny, no patience for drama. When I told her the story over drinks, she almost choked laughing. Her only comment was, "Just don't ever invite me on a Denver work trip." Fair enough. My apartment's peaceful now. No incense choking the air. No crying on the couch. No surprise interventions with relationship coaches. Just me, Ruby, and a quiet life without chaos. The last gut punch came when I heard the baby's name. One of Gretchen's old friends slipped and mentioned it at a mutual gathering. She grinned awkwardly and said, "Yeah, she named him." Wait for it. Orion Sage. I had to ask her to repeat it. Thought I misheard. But nope. She actually named that kid after something that screamed, "I read horoscopes daily, and I decided to name my baby after it." Gretchen still tries to play martyr online. Posts about being a warrior mom. Talks about resilience. Uploads blurry pictures of crystals on her coffee table. Every now and then, she slips in a line about how some men run from responsibility. She can post whatever she wants. At the end of the day, her kid's birth certificate is blank. Her dad won't look at her. Her mom is fighting over alimony, and her work fling bailed the second the spotlight hit him. Meanwhile, I'm thriving. Promotion, new girlfriend, peace of mind. It's almost unfair how clean my escape was. Almost. Because the truth is, I earned it. By staying calm, standing my ground, and refusing to play their little guilt trip game, I walked away untouched while they set fire to their own house. The baby? Cute kid, I'm sure. But not mine. The drama? Entertaining, but not my circus. The family? Broken, but they broke themselves. And me? I'm free. Good luck explaining that name in kindergarten. Not my kid, not my problem. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.